Salve YouTube, and welcome to my 17th Rome 2 online battle. Today, I decided to go with a Roman army. And the reason I decided to go with the Roman army, guys, is because I thought to myself, remember the days when Praetorian Guard were ridiculously overpowered and Praetorian Cavalry were ridiculously overpowered, and everyone at their mom brought at least 6 Praetorian Guard? I figured to myself, why not try and do a build like that and see if I can utilize my micro to beat my opponent. And I'm also going to be using a tactic here that you're going to see in time, and this is strictly a Roman infantry tactic. Now, historians don't really know how the legion actually fought. We only have kind of theories and ideas when it comes to how, you know, maniples moved around and how the cohorts actually ended up engaging the enemy. So I wouldn't be surprised if, you know, what I'm going to show you here today is probably going to be something that the Romans used to some extent, because it allows you to use a smaller line to overwhelm your enemy, and we're going to see how to do that. So I've got 6 of these auxiliary Balearic slingers. 24 missile damage and 25 ammo means that these guys are going to be doing serious damage if you can keep them safe throughout the battle. I brought 6 of them. That's a lot in this patch. Missiles aren't really great in this patch, but these guys are, because they have shields, and their shields are actually pretty big, so they end up blocking a lot of missile damage. But we're going to see here that they're not going to actually get a lot of skirmish time with enemy missiles in this fight. Next, I followed that up with 6 of these Praetorian Guards. Now, these guys used to be a lot stronger in the early game when patch 1, patch 2 were out, but these Praetorian Guard have outstanding stats. 75 armor, 70 base morale, 57 melee defense is really good, and that 71 attack means that these guys can dish out extreme amounts of damage when they fight units that have to face forward. So the army that my opponent brought, that we're going to go take a look at here in a little bit, is that kind of army. I've then supported with 2 Praetorian Cavalry. Again, Praetorian Cav have 57 defense, 90 hit points, and 70 base morale, and they do have Draco. They're excellent melee Cav, and they will grind the enemy. Again, if used and if they approach properly. I also have 2 Auxiliary Cavalry, which is still considered heavy Cav. They're like a miniature version of Praetorian Guard. A little bit faster, even though it says here that they are heavy. Yeah, they're just regular heavy melee cav, as opposed to the very heavy that Praetorians are. I've got a Legatus Warrior General, and the Warrior General is going to be very important in this build, and we're going to see why in a little bit. So let's take a look at my opponent's army here. My opponent actually brought a really nice army, and when we started the battle, I commended him on his build because I thought this was actually a really nice Macedonian build. He had 3 citizen cav that he stationed on both of his flanks, and oh no, stop! Damn it. He had 3 citizen cav that he moved to the flank here in order to start a very wide flanking maneuver. He's going to actually enter the trees here and follow all the way to the top and try to get behind my lines. So there was a lot of tactics that was going on here, and I'm going to go ahead and pause and explain why I think my opponent moved forward. But his army consisted of 3 units of archers, and then he had a total of 9 pikes. 6 of those were these thorax pikemen here. We're going to see more of his units in close-ups with lots of blood and gore, because I do have that patch installed. And I did purchase the Blood and Gore DLC. So yeah. And then he has 3 units of the regular, I think it was Levy pikemen. He had 2 units of hoplites supporting his flanks, and the way he arranged his line was that he was going to take advantage of the entire width of this forest. But once he saw that I have the skirmish advantage, look what he's going to do. My opponent knows that I'm going to need to skirmish away from him as soon as possible. He's going to know that once I start getting in range, I'm not going to let his archers come any close to firing at my slingers. And the way he's gonna do this is he's gonna press forward a lot, and he's gonna not allow me to enter the forest, because if I enter the forest now, I'm gonna be in cover and I'm gonna be able to kite a little bit. So let's go ahead and pause. So let's assume I managed to get my line about to this point over here. My slingers are gonna fire a shot, run back, fire a shot, run back, fire a shot, run. They're gonna get at least 4 or 5 shots, and get maybe shot back at if I mess up my micro, but they're going to be in the forest. So my opponent wants to prevent this. And the way he's going to do this is he's going to bring his lines forward and bring his archers forward and prevent me from entering the forest securely. If he wants any skirmish to happen, he wants it to happen with his lines in the middle, my lines on the edge, so that once I start skirmishing out, kind of like this, he would be able to shoot at the backs of my guys as they're exiting the forest and they won't get the cover. I notice this and I don't want to take the risks. I see he's flanking a lot with his cavalry, because at this stage my core focus is to get him out of all this cover so that my slingers can do the damage, because he doesn't have a lot of cav and I'm confident that I can defeat his cav with my superior melee cavalry here. He didn't bring any shock cavalry as Macedon, which was kind of surprising. So now I've stationed myself outside, and I've actually got 1, 2, 3, 4. These 4 units of Praetorian Guard, they're grouped under one control group, and then this one is controlled on a separate one, and this one is controlled on a separate one as well. And what's that going to allow me to do is talk about, and well, not talk about, do, or kind of try to pull off the infantry tactic that I was telling you guys about. And we're going to see how that plays out. So I've seen my opponent sending his cav on the minimap. I know that he is now beginning to go on the offensive. The timer is ticking down and he's starting to get a little bit impatient. I think he's sent his cav in this vicinity here. His main line's over here. And now I'm gonna need, I can't just stay still. This was another good move from him, I think, because the fact that I have cav right on my flank means that if I do get engaged, there's not going to be a lot to run back to. But if I push forward now, his cav is going to travel more distance, and I'm going to be able to counter with my cavalry and prevent him from hitting the backs of my men, especially because I don't have any spears. My general is there, he could get caught, and these slingers are going to, it's going to be very difficult to keep 3 units of cav off of my slingers. He's going to at least maybe take 2 or 3 slingers with him. So I decide that I need to prevent him from sending his cavalry forward. And the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to fake a left flanking maneuver. So I wish I could rewind a little bit. But basically, my 4 units were moving this way. It looks like I'm going to go towards his flank, right? It looks like I'm trying to get a position here, kind of like what he's doing to me. I think at this stage, he sees this and he's like, okay, I'm not going to worry about these cav. And his maybe camera view is something like this, if he's using the normal cam. And he's looking here, zooming out a little bit, and he wants to try and get behind my line. He thinks these guys in the distance are going to flank. But that's not what's going to happen. I'm sending 3 of them here. And I noticed that he's kind of messed up his positioning on his archers. My cav is coming in. They've got their shields up. Let's go into insert camera. And what I do is I put them into the little wedge formation over here. And that's going to allow my unit to just sneak through these spikes, sneak through the line, and just slam into my opponent's backs here. And that is going to be the first mini victory I have here. As you can see, my units are just devastating these regular archers. Just absolutely destroying them. They are out. I pull out. And now he notices this. And he's like, oh my god, what just happened? He just did a strike on me. He thought I was flanking with my cav. But look now, I keep one of these cavs here, and look, I'm going to do another feint. I'm going to send my cav in this direction. And again, let's look at his perspective. It looks like now, okay, I did the strike, and I'm sending the rest of my cav towards his line. But I'm not. Towards, not his line, his cav. I am trying my best to carry out another one of those strikes. And the way I'm going to do it is, I'm going to do something that you can think of as prodding almost. I'm just going to send units a little bit forward here. So he sees this one, he's ready for it, right? I'm going to wait for as long as I can. Yeah, and then look. Nope. I'm going to fall right out. And then I'm going to send them back in. I'm going to keep his attention focused here. And here comes a unit of cav again. And look, I cancel the attack order, and again, I'm gonna sneak through. And now that I'm through, I'm gonna swing around the side of this pike unit, hit them, and then hit the rest of his cav. Now he sees that he's effectively lost a lot of the skirmish capability that he has, and he has to push forward. He's sending his citizen cav here, but again, I'm going to intercept them. I'm not sure why he actually engages the Praetorians in this area here. This is going to be a bad time for him. I'm going to pull my infantry units back. Here comes my general. And because he's a warrior general, we're going to see that these units are going to be dispatched very quickly. So my opponent, he's thinking, I think he's trying to kind of catch me off guard. He's like, okay, I've got three archer units. One of them was pretty cheap. If I can maybe get an attack on his archers, maybe he tried to micro. Like when he was around here, he double clicked on my archers and he didn't notice my cav, and then he came over here to try to deal with my cav strikes and looked back and was like, oh, Draco charge from cav. And here comes the general, and lots of blood again. Look, some Praetorians also in the mix. There they are. So now my Praetorians have done the job. His cav are routing. We're going to chase them, make sure that they don't come back. And now my opponent is going to be like, okay, he is 2 archers down, and now he still has these 9 pikes. Now 9 pikes versus 6 Praetorian guards is pretty manageable if you manage your pikes properly. Like the Praetorian guard will simply not be able to flank in a regular flanking maneuver. My slingers, though, they're gonna act as something that's very important. And you know, me and my good buddy Achilles talk about this the entire time. How sometimes your opponent, if they send far flanking units like cav or maybe supporting infantry, instead of colliding back onto your center and doing as much damage as possible to your line and trying to wrap it up, they'll actually give your line more time and take the bait that is the skirmish, because they look at the skirmishers and they think, oh, unguarded skirmishers, I'm gonna go for them. And that's a very common mistake. And while yes, they are vulnerable, and even though that sometimes cav might actually kill them very quickly, at other times they won't, especially when there's 6 of these. So if I get charged by cav, for example, I might throw 1 or 2 at the cav to slow it down and then spread out in all different directions. That cav unit is not going to have a great time at all. So here comes his mercenary Cretan archers. They are getting absolutely paintballed with the slings here. Here comes another volley in slow-mo for you guys. And these guys are... Look at that guy. Ow. That's... I don't know why they're not actually using their shields when they're not firing. But you can see that the stones are just headshot, headshot, everywhere. These Cretans are absolutely getting devastated. And now we're gonna keep it on slow-mo, and I'm gonna show you guys the maneuver that I'm doing. I'm just gonna hold space, and you'll see how I command my infantry. So here are my 1 control group. That's my 2nd control group. That's my 3rd control group. I want to create a ruse. I want to create a little concave here, kind of like what Hannibal did against the Romans. I forget what the battle was called. I'm gonna fall out. Or did he do the opposite? I'm not quite sure. I forget. But see, I'm creating a concave for his units to kind of pour in here. And I'm gonna be targeting... My slingers are gonna be targeting his pike units now. And now watch. I'm gonna just stop here for a little bit. He's not moving. I'm gonna let him bring more of his mass from the rear forward. So, I'm going to issue some more attack commands. I've got to pull these guys backwards, because if I do let them engage, this flanking unit will hit them. These flanking this is his little flank. And now I notice that he's static and he's starting to come this way because he thinks that this is his isolated target here. So if we go look at my opponent's view, this guy was over here. He was way isolated from the rest of my army. And that's why he's starting to slowly shift his mass towards a weakness, or a look-alike weakness in my line. And that's exactly what I want. Because when he does this, his units start turning like this. And since these are pikes, and because they can't turn around a lot, it's going to be very difficult for him to really do anything. Look at my slingers. They're still absolutely paintballing these guys with slings. Brought them down to 95 already. And here's now a mistake he makes. Is that he's going to end up, instead of trying to kind of clamp this unit, he's going to actually let me retreat. And look how I just pull away with all of my slingers at once. Now my slingers are starting to skirmish, and I can actually stop microing them because they will do this effectively. And now I begin my attack while pulling the unit that he was chasing initially behind all my lines. So if my line is like this unit is now at the far flank of my line, which is going to mean that he is now essentially going to have to engage me in a column. But look, I'm microing my units intelligently. If there's a place where his pikes are facing me, I just run away. I'm pulling out here and here. And look, I'm going to see that one in a little bit and attack. There we go. That's going to be a great engagement. I'm going to bring another one in here. Here, he's almost going to connect with me. But again, not going to let it happen. I'm going to pull this guy back, bring this guy to hit that one. And then this Manipular is going to come and strike at the sides. So as you can see, this is the modular power of a Roman Manipular style or cohort-based style. Is that you are able to maneuver your units much easier than phalanx troops, and what looked like a very solid line at the beginning has now essentially been divided and conquered. Look at this here, directly from the sides, directly from the back. Now we hit play. Let's get you guys a little bit of close-ups, a little bit of blood. These units are getting absolutely destroyed here. You can see we're absolutely eating through the pikes here. We're eating through the pikes here. We're eating through the pikes here. And here, look. We're attacking one of them. This one now turns around, tries to face us. Not gonna let it happen. We're gonna fall back again and hit these units. Look, I'm finding these little pockets of units, and I slam in with my cavalry here. These guys aren't going to be able to resist. These guys are completely out of position. They're going to get absolutely slammed. But look, because they're stationary, they still actually get a decent brace. That's a general charge. General's going to run back out. And I'm using Intimidate and War Cry with my general on my opponents. Look, he's still chasing one of my slingers there, and I never worried about that. Never really microed it. And now my slingers are, look at that. Now they're going to start getting the kills. Why? Because these guys have been fighting, and now they're turning towards my healthy remainder of Praetorian guards. Look at how many pikes are getting just shoved so quickly at my Praetorian guard. Because of all those hit points, they're still hanging in there. But look at that. Look how quickly and how many pikes are coming in. But all of his pikes are in one place. They're getting pelted by my slingers. In comes my cavalry. He's trying to turn around. He's just simply not going to be able to, because I've got way more supporting troops that have cleaned up on that flank. Now are going to come in, and what was that a brilliant attack with all these Praetorians that ended up falling has now turned on its head. And with more Praetorians coming in from the side, the pike phalanx is broke. The cavalry are celebrating in the distance. Everyone is covered in blood. It's just so damn epic. He still has some pike units here that he's trying to bring in battle. They're trying to rally. But at this stage, I'm just going to commit all my troops. In comes a back cav charge against this unit of pikes that is not going to need any more punishment. And his general over here is also getting absolutely destroyed. His general unit, his pikes are out of formation. And just look at the sheer amount of blood. This was an absolute massacre, guys. And I've actually taken a picture with my iPhone of the number of kills that I managed to obtain in this battle using this Manipular style of play. And I'm going to let you guys see that at the end of this video. I hope you guys learned a little bit from this video. I hope you took away some sort of tactic, or maybe you liked one of the builds that was shown. Please do hit the like button if you enjoyed this battle and would like to see more online multiplayer battles and tactical discussions of this nature. Thanks for watching, guys, and check out the results screen.